good game, very concentrated in defending, and try to win with 3 points more at home if we want to continue in ball to try to fight for that spot, European spot for the next season.
It will be a tough match, I don't have doubts. In some moments they show some inconsistency also, but strong team. Their home form the last few games are really good. In the away games not so good. And it's a good challenge for us to go there to break that good home form they had in the past few games, and for us to achieve more 3 points. We know it will be tough, will be a good challenge for us, but we have to prove again our quality.
Will be a good challenge, says Marco Silva. It certainly will be, though I'm sure he'll be happy that the real star power, the likes of Felipe Anderson, not playing today for West Ham. David Conley, got to ask you about Marko Arnautovic, who I think many weren't expecting to start today. I certainly, coming to the game today, thought I would see Javier Hernandez up front, but of course the lack of sharpness on Hernandez means Arnautovic plays, and he kind of needs to have a good game for West Ham, doesn't he? It's been a long time now.
Yes, I mean, look, is he fading slightly? He wasn't particularly good, was he, against Huddersfield? Got dragged off, and obviously Hernandez had a really good impact. But I guess he's just managing his squad here, Pellegrini. Look, he signed a new deal. He's going to be on an awful lot of money. If they are going to sell him, well, arguably they get more for him if they do start playing him, But obviously he's got a warrant in that place. Look, I think on his day, he's unplayable. I guess, that form has just been, a bit patchy. I think, obviously, since the move to China fell through, and look, I don't know why I'd want to go there, unless it's obviously for the money, but he's obviously getting very well paid now. He needs to settle down, concentrate on his football. He's had a social media video out, hasn't he, and fans aren't quite sure what to make of that. Just get your head down, concentrate on your football.
Yeah, and we will see what Marko Arnautovic has to offer today as we move on next to kick-off in this game between West Ham United and Everton. Two teams hoping to finish best of the rest in the Premier League table. The Hammers could go above Watford in the table today and maybe climb above Leicester and just below Wolves, depending on the result today. So, big game for both. Everton, should they win, they would go above the Hammers into the top half of the Premier League. So, plenty to play for. Kick-off is next. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourite?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance, Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Cardiff City legend Danny Gavidan joins us on the Preview Show. He's got some new teeth. The former Millwall captain Matt Lawrence with us on the Preview Show. Former Liverpool striker Neil Mellor is on the Preview Show this week.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of West Ham United against Everton from London Stadium. I'm your host, Tom Rennie. Alongside me is the former Hammers striker, David Connolly. This is Premier League Live. West Ham unbeaten in 6 Premier League games at London Stadium and could win 4 successive top-flight home games for the first time since May 2002. So maybe this unloved bowl is starting to feel like home for the Hammers. Everton today vying to win consecutive Premier League fixtures for only the second time this season. You do feel that victory today is vital for the visitors if they are to have any hope of finishing 7th this season, so plenty to play for both of these sides. Let's get to the team news, starting with West Ham United. Lucas Fabianski in goal today, back 4 left to right of Aaron Cresswell, Angelo Ogbonna, Issa Diop and Pablo Zabaleta. Cresswell captains the side today. Mark Noble on the bench. Pedro Obiang is in for him alongside Declan Rice in a 4-4-2. Manuel Lanzini on the left wing in place of Felipe Anderson, not in the matchday squad today for the first time this season for West Ham in the league. Robert Snodgrass on the right wing, and up front it's Marko Arnautovic and Lucas Perez. On the bench for the Hammers, Adrian Balbuena, Masuaku, Noble, Antonio Diangana and Javier Hernandez. For Everton, Jordan Pickford's in goal, back 4 left to right of Lucas Digne, Kurt Zuma, Michael Keane and Seamus Coleman, the captain of the Toffees. In midfield, Dragana and Andre Gomez. We had put Morgan Schneiderlin, might get a start today, having impressed off the bench against Chelsea, but he is not even in the matchday squad, not injured as far as we know. Sigurdsson, Richarlison and Bernard support Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. On the bench, it's Stekelenburg, Baines, Jagielka, Davis, Walcott, Tossen and Lookman. We are underway at London Stadium as I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles rings around this new and controversial venue. West Ham in their home strip today of claret shirts, white shorts and white socks. They kick from left to right as we look in this first half, with Everton the other way, right to left with blue shirts, shorts and socks with white numbering and trim. Paul Tierney is our referee. Everton already on the front foot here down the left channel. West Ham have been slow starters in so many games this season. Everton trying to capitalise on that already with Richarlison down the right-hand side, midway in West Ham territory. Infield, but intercepted by the England international Declan Rice. Out left to Arnautovic, back to Rice again, trying to find an out ball, so calm in possession as he showed in Montenegro in midweek. And West Ham avoid any early slip-ups in the opening minute this time around. So David Connolly, West Ham starting in the 4-4-2 formation we predicted.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, they're missing Anderson, their top scorer as well. As I said, I don't think they could play Noble in midfield when they are going to play 2 up top. Really interested to see how Declan Rice plays here, because he's got that monkey off his back, I think, in terms of playing for England. He's got it out the way now. And I was looking at those other midfielders around his age, you know, your Ruben Neves at Wolves, possibly. Maybe Ndidi's at Leicester. You know, is he as good as them? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not so sure. But he's certainly made a real name for himself this season.
High ball towards Marko Arnautovic from West Ham. Overhit. Bounces through to Jordan Pickford. Rice's England teammate, all in fluorescent vaults away to our right. Very good distributor of the ball. Chips it out right, then it's played back to Jordan Pickford in his own penalty area. Into Gomez, who drops short for the ball. Enjoying his debut season in the Premier League. Andre Gomez has flitted in and out of the side in recent weeks with Schneiderlin's return. Ball chipped down the left channel now to the very hard-working Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's attempting to show Marco Silva and the Everton fans that they don't need to invest in a striker this summer.
Well, he's already shown, hasn't he? He's really full of running. Calvert-Lewin in behind, plenty of athleticism and legs about him. He's going to test and stretch that West Ham defensive line, that's for sure.
At the other end, Arnautovic trying to stretch Everton, but running into the bulky frame of Kurt Zouma, alleged to have fouled the Everton central defender. 3 minutes gone. It's West Ham 0, Everton 0 on Premier League Live on the day that Huddersfield Town were confirmed as relegated to the Championship. 6 games to go, and they officially will not be in this division next season. I suppose that might be sweet relief for some.
Well, it will. That's one out the way, I guess, you know. But looking at these two sides, I mean, a win for West Ham will leapfrog them. They'll basically go into 7th. So after Wolves' defeat, obviously, if Everton do the same, they'll be up there as well.
A lovely ball for Everton down the right channel to Richarlison. Cresswell is with him. The West Ham captain gets a block on the cross from the Brazilian, but it will be a corner out on the far side to the away team.
Well, again, we've seen that running in behind. This time it's Richarlison. Little give and go. Then he attacks that space. Just switched off there slightly. I think it was this Diop, played him onside, got to the byline. To me, he looks much better though when he's playing wide, Richarlison. I know he tried him as a number 9 earlier in the season, didn't work. Bit too young for that. Might come though.
13 goals this season, 12 in the league. Many as a striker, but on the wing today, as David Connolly says. Ball comes into Zouma. An early goal for Everton, and it's Kurt Zouma with a free header from 6 yards out. There is a man on the post, but he couldn't get it clear. And in this battle of two teams trying to finish best of the rest, it's Everton who scored the first goal.
Right, they're drawing first blood here. The first attack really from Everton. They won the corner. It's an outswinger delivered deep and high. Zouma just rises highest, gets above his man. I think it's above Diop, it might have been. Heads it down into the ground and just bounces over the man on the line. We'll have to wait and see. It's Cresswell, isn't it? Yeah. Heads it straight down off the turf. It just skips up off. He tried to jump and flick it over the bar, Cresswell, but he just lacked a couple of inches. Just nestled in the far corner.
Goal for Kurt Zouma. Once again, West Ham conceding in the opening exchanges of a match. You saw the game against Huddersfield a couple of weeks ago where they looked very susceptible to the set piece. And that wasn't good defending there from the West Ham back.
Well, it was just a simple ball in the box from the corner. Plenty of height. I mean, there were man marking there. He's a powerful boy, isn't he, Zouma? Him and Keane.
Everton certainly started better. West Ham hoping to respond here with Arnautovic on the left-hand side. Approaching the end line. Back to Lanzini. Cross towards Zabaleta. Away as far as Aaron Cresswell, who finds a release to Arnautovic in space. Cuts it back. Obiang on the edge. Couldn't control. Will it break to Perez? Will break to Seamus Coleman, who heads back calmly to the goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford.
Oh, really good composure there from Seamus Coleman. Actually, looking at this Everton team, there's a lot of them have had really good international breaks. Obviously, Keane came up with a goal. Pickford obviously was good for England. Coleman for Ireland. Some really confident boys now in that Everton side. Again, though, how slowly have West Ham started? I think they would have learned that couple of week break, but no, they've started ever so slowly again here.
Richarlison away from Cresswell on the halfway line, but his pass is straight to Robert Snodgrass of West Ham. Into Lucas Perez, challenged by Idrissa Gana, who went to ground, but Lucas Perez recovers and finds a chip out to the far side, and Cresswell into Declan Rice. 6 minutes gone. It's West Ham 0, Everton 1 on Premier League Live. Kurt Zouma with the goal just a couple of minutes ago. It's a Diop on the ball now, the man who lost out in the air to Zouma. Back to Fabianski, who apart from picking the ball out of his net has not touched the ball as yet with his hands. Good win by Bernard. Beats Zabaleta, and Gomez will lead a charge here for Everton. They've got 5 players forward. One is Sigurdsson. Back to Gomez. Challenge came in from Pedro Obiang right at the last. It's going to be a corner to Everton, but they got the bodies forward there.
Oh, they could have done something a little bit more here, but Zabaleta, to me, just leaves his slot in the right back area, and they attack into it. Gomez is trying to drag Diop out. He does. Little slip past to Sigurdsson, goes for the return ball. I wonder, though, if he could have just slid that across the box. Calvert-Lewin might have had a tap in. Maybe tried something a bit too intricate there, Sigurdsson. It's another set piece, though.
It'll be Digne to whip this ball in from the left-hand side. Outswinger from the full-back. It will be chipped towards the back post. Again, it's won by an Everton head in Calvert-Lewin. Breaks to Gomez. Lanzini lobs clear. Robert Snodgrass looks to lead a counter here, and Arnautovic ahead of him. Here he is now. Can't slip it through though to Lanzini. Brilliant work by Idrissa Gana, who's then caught late by Robert Snodgrass. Referee Paul Tierney hasn't given a foul against the West Ham man. Well, I think got lucky there, Robert Snodgrass. He was out of control in that challenge. Everton tried to counter, but their chip goes straight through to Fabianski.
Well, they look dangerous, don't they? Set pieces, Everton that time to the back post, isolated 1v1, and they won the first header. Good little break though from West Ham, but it was a certain foul, I think it by Snodgrass, wasn't it, on the gate?
Just a Ghana game midfield for Everton has impressed many. With the way he protects that back line, certainly a good footballer as well, as is Bernard here, who's beaten Zabaleta, and he's in the penalty area now for Everton. Gets the shot away, but it's blocked. Diop then looks like he's panicking with the ball dropping down to his feet, and Snodgrass had to come in and find a calm pass back to Fabianski, chipped up towards Perez, won by Zuma. Everton really fancy this one here in East London. The home side yet to wake up at all in the opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, Zabaleta very, very keen to go in. He's just leaving himself a little bit exposed out on this right-hand side. Here he is again. They're down this side.
Here's Garner around the back of him. He's in the penalty area. Low cross. Intercepted and away by Angelo Ogbonna. They really are going, as David Conley says, after Pablo Zabaleta, who's got no answer so far.
Well, he's just got to stay in his slot, stay in the zone, get your winger in front, Snodgrass, just don't leave it at the minute. He's far too aggressive, coming out of his area. Here he is again, pressing on the ball. Now they're in. Centre-halves have got to get across and cover. They're destroying them out wide, particularly down West Ham's right.
Also from set pieces too, another one here. Lucas Digne to take. Out on the left-hand side. Of course, the goal came from the other side. Sigurdsson's ball in and Zuma's header. Zuma a target again here. Ball is chipped deep. Once again won by Everton. It's Keane this time. Diop then away. Then Ogbonna. West Ham not winning those balls in the area in the opening minutes here. And looking very, very dodgy when it comes to set pieces. Everton coming again. West Ham looking shell-shocked here. Ball towards Richarlison, intercepted by Declan Rice, who looks to clear. It's blocked by Richarlison. Well, 10 minutes gone, David Conley, and West Ham have barely got out their own half.
No, they haven't. Actually, if Richarlison had switched on there, he would have been in, caught on his heels. A really good start here from the Toffees. And as you say, set pieces, it's almost as if they've obviously recognised maybe West Ham have a weakness. They're trying to loft it up. The balls in don't really have pace. They're just lofted into an area, in and around the back post, just inviting someone to get on the end of it. And look, West Ham have got good height, but maybe they're just trying to isolate one of the smaller players. But even that time, it was Ogbonna who was beaten.
Challenge by Zabaleta on Bernard for Everton. Ricochets off the veteran fullback, and will be an Everton throw into Gomez. Lovely turn away from Arnautovic. Classy player on the ball, Andre Gomez. Back towards Garner in the centre circle. He'll find a ball left to Gomez. Lucas Perez coming back to try and win the ball back for West Ham, and does, but given away by Arnautovic as they couldn't really get a break going there. But what a turn that is by Richarlison on Lanzini. Forward to Sigurdsson, down the line to Calvert-Lewin, who is through for two. Strike hits Fabianski, back to Sigurdsson. Great save again by Lucas Fabianski, who at the moment is keeping West Ham in this game.
Oh, certainly Calvert-Lewin, to me, he's got to score. It's a sort of cross-come shot, but he doesn't quite get it right. And then a really good flick there back to Sigurdsson, but a super reaction save from Fabianski.
Here come Everton once again, absolutely bossing this game in East London. Chip into Digne in the area, left-hand side. He's away from his marker and shoots, and it's a save by Fabianski. Once again, the Polish goalkeeper bailing out West Ham, but once again, the outfield players can't keep the ball. It's Coleman now coming forward. Well, is this Everton or is it Brazil? What are we watching here?
Well, I mean, West Ham are making them look like Brazil, that's for sure. That time, Snodgrass just switched off. Digne straight in behind him, check back inside, good shot across goal. Fabianski equal to it.
Throw in by Coleman into Richarlison. Back to Richarlison again here, flicked on by Bernard. Calvert-Lewin. Once again, it's Fabianski who stops Calvert-Lewin from heading over him as he came out there. Calvert-Lewin has stayed down. Zabaleta was in the mix. But once again, it's Lucas Fabianski against Everton right now. And look at Manuel Pellegrini. Usually a manager who keeps his calm and composure. I think they call that doing your nut, don't they?
Certainly. I mean, Fabianski here, look, he's flapped at this one. He seems to have caught Calvert-Lewin a little bit late. To me, he gets there first, Calvert-Lewin, but he's just done enough, Fabianski. Look, you can hear the crowd, they're starting to turn. You've just got to stick with the players here, because they had a similar opening against Huddersfield. This that chance from Calvert-Lewin. He goes at the near. To me, he's got to go across goal, but still good awareness to cut the ball back to Sigurdsson. But if he goes across goal, I think that might have been 2-0.
Absolutely dominant in the opening 13 minutes here. The Toffees then lead by a goal to 0.
Now look, if you're going to play a front two, right, and you're not having the ball, when you suddenly win it back and it goes to that front two, they've got to keep hold of it. It's coming up to Arnautovic, it's coming up to Perez. They're just losing possession immediately. You've got to relieve the pressure, keep hold of it.
Everton picking the ball up in all the pockets, and they've done it once again with Gomez. Flick on there by Calvert-Lewin was poor, but once again Everton retake possession. They have flirted with this 4-4-2 this season, West Ham, and not too sure it's worked too much, but a challenge by Zabaleta has broken to Arnautovic, who tried to take on Keane. He went right, he went left, he fell over, and Keane won it back.
Oh, what a chance that is, though. He's 1v1 against Keane, he's on his left-hand side, does a little Ronaldo, chop back in, and then he slips over. I don't know what he's wearing, it looks like... He should be having studs on anyway. He certainly shouldn't be slipping. I imagine he's got some form of moulded boots or the blades, but he would have been in on goal then. What a missed opportunity. Very
nearly a chance from nowhere. Utterly undeserved it would have been from West Ham. They have won a free kick in their own half here. Foul on Robert Snodgrass. And what do you do in this situation, David? What do West Ham need to do to try and get a foothold here?
Well, I mean, certainly they need to keep the ball when they do win it back. Far too eager to give it away. Just stay on it, retain it, relieve a bit of the pressure. Look, we know Everton is so good in possession. We saw that against Chelsea, but just need to take their time here, West Ham, even now, building up from the back. Look, one pass and they've given it straight back to Everton, just not good enough.
Lucas Perez has won it back for West Ham into Lanzini, who chips it to Declan Rice in the centre circle behind him. It goes right to Zabaleta, lets it run across his body, but it's well read by Bernard, who's having a fantastic game in the opening 15 minutes here.
He is, he's working ever so, like a lot of the Evertonians, really putting the effort in, shifting for the side.
Throwing from West Ham into Arnautovic. Back to Snodgrass, who looks cross-field to Aaron Cresswell. 15 minutes gone, West Ham 0, Everton 1. Down the line to Perez, out-muscled though by Keane, who looks down the line to Richarlison. Can't get away from Aubameyang, into Cresswell. Back to Manuel Lanzini. Challenged by Gylfi Sigurdsson, who's won it back brilliantly, and he'll find Andre Gomez, and Everton can break with Cresswell out of position. Richarlison down the line to Calvert-Lewin. Gomez running central, held up by Diop, who then puts in a swiping challenge. Gets away with that one as Calvert-Lewin rid it well. Into Bernard, low cross in, right across the face of goal. No one's there to turn it home. It will be a goal kick to West Ham, but it's a let-off once again for the home team.
Oh, they're living dangerously here, the Hammers. Again, committing top far too many players forward, leaving spaces in the wide areas. This time, Calvert-Lewin, lovely little jinking run inside to Gomez, slips it wide to Bernard. This time he gets his head up, rolls it across the 6-yard, just in front of Calvert-Lewin though, but Fabianski leaves it. Somehow it runs straight across the 6-yard box. Get away with that, West Ham. I think it's Cresswell. He actually plays it off Coleman, but very fortunate. Fabianski with a wry smile. He knows they're just about hanging in this game.
Well, historically, Everton have loved to play against West Ham United. They're the team in this competition they have beaten more than any other. And West Ham did win the game at Goodison Park earlier on in the season. Looking to do a rare double over the Toffees, but nowhere near it at the moment. Coming forward now with Lanzini, who went away with Argentina but didn't play. Challenge once again, Manuel Lanzini, and Everton will break away, and Gomez is round the back of Rice and Aubameyang, but Rice puts in a really good challenge as Sigurdsson and Gomez rather got in each other's way. Ball out left to Arnautovic, and it's overhit and out of play.
Oh, it's a really open game, isn't it? End to end. Not really lacking, I guess, in certain instances, but it's certainly a typical Premier League game, end to end. A lot of loose passes at the minute, lacking quality. Certainly both of these sides seem to actually want to go for the 3 points and not playing for a draw here. Very open.
Well, I think it's fair to say that Everton, on the strength of their chances, could already have 3 points in the bag from the opening 18 minutes here, just the one goal. West Ham not really had a shot in anger in response since Kurt Zouma's header in the 5th minute. Here's Issa Diop for West Ham. On the halfway line is Obiang, who brings it out right. Ball straight to Bernard. Awful pass, trying to find Snodgrass. Chips forward to Calvert-Lewin, and Bonner had read it well. Heads away from Calvert-Lewin and finds Diop to his right. Then Zabaleta down the line, looks for Snodgrass, trying to turn away from his marker. Back to Obiang, who chips it forward to Arnautovic. Helped on down the right channel to Zabaleta, who's round the back of the fullback. Cuts back across, finds Lanzini in the area, who waited and dawdled on the ball. Allowed Everton to steal, and it's broken through to Pickford.
Well, not for the first time. That time Lanzini taking too long. And to me, Everton are just a yard quicker, a yard faster.
And they're coming forward again here with Bernard. Into Sigurdsson. On the edge, Gylfi Sigurdsson. Brilliant challenge by Bonner, who was falling over as he challenged Sigurdsson, who looked to shift him to the right-hand side and get the shot away. Really good, but last-ditch defending from West Ham.
Again, it's end-to-end though, isn't it? It's so open. Both these sides really going for it, not really paying much attention to their defensive responsibilities, that's for sure. Well, Everton are, but West Ham certainly aren't. But again, you saw Lanzini a bit like Arnautovic, taking too long in possession, too loose. That's offside.
Arnautovic down the line from Zabaleta, but as you heard, offside flag goes up against the struggling Austrian. He was having a great season before the controversy of that ill-fated attempt to go to China in the January transfer window.
Well, he was looking along the line there, that was really lazy, but this is a good chance. Zabaleta cut the ball back after a terrific through ball from Arnautovic. Lanzini's just got to get his shot off much earlier. Look, Everton are really up for this. They've come flying out the traps. You're not going to get that time on the ball.
Arnautovic not scored in the league since the 2nd of January. A brace against Brighton, did score against Birmingham in the FA Cup a few days later, but hasn't had his scoring boots on since then. Did score a couple for Austria in their loss against Israel in midweek, but hasn't done too much in claret and blue in 2019. There's Andre Gomez for Everton, left-hand side, approaching the halfway, in front of Pellegrini. Always interesting at London Stadium because it's the ground where you can see the two managers clearest. Often when you're at games, you don't see them. They're buried with the fans, but of course they just stand out on their own here with such a huge gap between the stand where our cameras are pointing from and where the edge of the pitch actually is. 20 minutes gone, West Ham 0, Everton 1. Zouma's goal, Sigurdsson trying to combine with Richarlison on the right hand side there, but a challenge by Cresswell, sees it go for an Everton throw. Gomez found by Garner in the centre circle. 3 players around him, finds the ball back to Keane. Good football, Everton. Forward to Sigurdsson, too much space for Gylfi Sigurdsson. He finds a ball to Coleman, into Richarlison. Good football here. I tell you what, it was whipped in towards Calvert-Lewin. Diop went down. That may well have been a foul. If Calvert-Lewin had made a bit more of a meal of that. Everton once again, brilliant football, keeping the ball in play. Breaks to Garner, gets the shot away, but the offside flag has gone up belatedly on that far side as 3 Everton players played around a West Ham trio with absolute ease there.
A terrific move, but just going back to the earlier chance for Richarlison, great running behind. I just wonder, did Diop just ease him out of it there? He just saw, I think he read the run from Calvert-Lewin, but just did enough.
He jumps in as if Calvert-Lewin's going to make connection with the ball, and he doesn't, and he makes connection with the Everton striker.
I think that's what Marco Silva is saying there. It could have been a possible penalty, but I tell you what it will be thinking, Marco Silva, they've got to make one of these chances count, because at the minute they're utterly dominant. A second goal here could kill the Hammers off.
5 shots, 4 on target on latest count from Everton, but it's been so much more than efforts on goal. A couple of times they've played it right across the 6-yard box, no one there to tap it home. West Ham lucky to still be in this one. I wonder if Manuel Pellegrini might think about tweaking the way the Hammers are playing, because whatever they're trying so far, it is not working at all.
I mean, if they had a stronger number 9, would they have had another goal by now? Calvert-Lewin a couple of times has just been eased out of it. Doesn't really have the strength that a Diop and an Ogbonna has, but look, he's offered a real threat in behind, don't get me wrong. Maybe if they had a big powerful 9 though.
Still just that goal from a corner, scored by Kurt Zouma. Just getting a replay on our monitors here of that goal, and Once again, West Ham starting very, very slowly and conceding from a set play, as they have so many times this season. I wouldn't think Bonner and Diop will be beaten in the air as easy as they are. There they come again. Good challenge by Diop, that time on Calvert-Lewin on the edge of the penalty area, as Everton swarm forward once again. Every West Ham player in their own half, and deep as well, as Everton find the holes, find the space, find the passes. Good ball by Garner into Richarlison. Return pass is overhit, and that's frustrating, because once again they were round the back of West Ham. If that pass was better.
Well, it was really good possession play though, wasn't it? Everton looked so comfortable on the ball, almost passing backwards just to drag West Ham out a little bit and then create a bit more space to play in. They got them on toast here, the Toffees. They really have. Can they make this count though? Another goal here could actually kill this game off for them.
Well, it took the substitutions against Huddersfield for West Ham to get back in the game that day. No Samir Nasri today, out injured once again with a calf problem. Javi Hernandez, who changed that game. Mikel Antonio came on as well and made a big difference. Just wonder whether Memo Pellegrini is already thinking about making changes here.
Well, look, if he's going to make them, he'll have to actually make a sub. He can't change it within the players on the pitch. That's the only problem.
Rare to see a team this dominant. And they're both in very similar positions in the table, as Snodgrass's ball in is overhit from the right, recovered by Lanzini on the left. Back in field finds Obiang. He's turned back towards the halfway line, chips crossfield to Diop. Bit of space now for Issa Diop to carry the ball forward from the central defence. It's into Snodgrass, right to Zabaleta. Back to Issa Diop again. Forward towards Snodgrass, but a poor pass straight to Garner. No real ideas there from West Ham, but Everton certainly have got them. And it's a ball down the left channel here to Calvert-Lewin, running at Bonner. Nice bit of skill to jink away, gets the shot away, and it's overhit by Dominic Calvert-Lewin that time. It's over the top, and he knows that he should have done better there.
Well, again, running into this right-hand channel, vacated by Zabaleta this time. Calvert-Lewin decides that there's no one really in the box. They're going to take him on. Faces up Diop, skips inside. You know what he's trying to do? He's trying to bend it into that far corner. Just put too much on it, but he's been a real live wire, Calvert-Lewin, today.
Ryan Fredericks today for West Ham United in the match day squad. I don't have him in my list of injured players. Has been getting the nod at times in front of Pablo Zabaleta in that position at right back. As West Ham come forward here with Arnautovic and Lanzini. Chipped by Lanzini towards Arnautovic, breaks back to Zabaleta, who tries a volley a goal, and it rather comes off the top of the boot and spins away. Many yards wide for a goal kick.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Pablo Zabaleta. I saw him here destroy Fulham. He was excellent against a winger and fullback, basically half his age, but he schooled them. But today, it's been really a real weak point actually for West Ham. Far too aggressive, too keen to come out of his slot. He's up against a really good side here. We know what they're doing.
Contract does run out at the end of this season for Pablo Zabaleta at West Ham. Talk that Memo Pellegrini does want to keep the veteran for another season. The jury's still out with many West Ham fans as to whether he would have earned it. Interesting summer ahead for both of these two teams. As Pickford blasts the ball long, won by Bonner. Declan Rice then picks it up in midfield. Ricochets to Lanzini, who goes right to Snodgrass. Bit of space to run into for Robert Snodgrass, away from Garner. Wants a ball, finds Arnautovic, looks to cut it back to Robert Snodgrass. It hit Dino and is cleared away in the penalty area by Keane. Throw into West Ham on the right hand side.
Well, Rice that time with a crunching challenge on Seamus Coleman, two former teammates, would you believe, for Ireland, but obviously now Rice plying his trade for England. I think Rice sort of had a look at him like, "Are you alright?" You know, Coleman just jogged off, get on with it. No love lost there, but they still seem actually good mates.
Zabaleta's throw to the anonymous Lucas Perez. Away by Zuma as far as Snodgrass, picked up by Lanzini. Chips it towards Obiang, but the angles aren't there for West Ham, and Everton have nicked it back once again. Bernard coming forward, lovely turn of pace. Can he find a ball to Richarlison? Well, he whipped it towards the back post. He couldn't get it though round the back of Angelo Ogbonna, who intercepted. Knocked it out for a throw on this near side to Everton.
Well, they look so good, don't they, on the break, Everton? They fly forward. This time Bernard out on the left-hand side. Again, what space? I don't need to tell you. Zabaleta's someone's got to look. If he doesn't know at his age, at least there's two centre halves who've got to say, look, forget bombing forward for a while. We're completely under the cosh. Stay in your slot.
Pablo Zabaleta been out of position all game long, and it's once again round the back of him. Everton go. Cross comes in, cleared away by Ogbonna, and Arnautovic flicks on, but no one's there. And Zuma's now dribbling the ball away from Marko Arnautovic. Such has been Everton's dominance in this near 30 minutes of football. Ball down the right-hand side to Richarlison, midway inside West Ham territory.
And you've got to remember, Zuma couldn't play against Chelsea, could he, his parent club? So to come in and put on a performance like this, don't get me wrong, he's not under that much pressure, but still, he's been really good on the ball so far.
Yerry Mina had an okay game, but injured once again today. Picked up a hamstring problem with Colombia. Has been such an injury-plagued campaign, hasn't it, for Yerry Mina, who came in with such fanfare during the summer transfer window along the likes of Gomez. On a free kick on the halfway line, Everton, they've taken it short into Andre Gomez and all the way back to Pickford. It may not be the most atmospheric of football grounds in English football, but certainly been noticeably quiet today, London Stadium.
Well, certainly when you're a away fan or you're the away team, you say, look, can we start well, high tempo, can we get an early goal, kill the crowd? And that's exactly what Everton have done here.
Throwing West Ham, Cresswell into Lanzini. Pass intercepted, it does break back to Lanzini, who then has lost it again. Richarlison running at Rice, surely fouled there by Declan Rice, who says he won the ball, but got plenty of Richarlison. Paul Tierney wants a word with the England international.
That was funny because, as you say, he did the motion of the ball, but that was a beach ball. That was a big ball, and then he didn't get much of it. Well, he got a tiny bit, to be honest.
Plenty of Richarlison, though.
Yeah, he did. It's gone for his wrong leg as well. It's always going to be a foul.
Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Knows his team have played very poorly here. I think West Ham will be desperate to get through the next 15 minutes.
I didn't realise, but Declan Rice actually went to school right down the road from where I live.
Oh, right.
Really surprising. Yeah, I just read that in the local paper. I've had my head buried in the sand for quite a while. Would you believe it? Good on him.
We always like to have well-researched analysts.
Yes,
here.
well, that's why I'm
Where did
here,
everyone
right?
go to school?
That's why I get the big bucks.
Everyone's infant school. He knows it off by heart. It's a rare skill.
Well, he was there, but actually he was at Chelsea, and then when they released him, he ended up at Charlton. He had to move, but...
Free kick here for Everton. Fired in, but Diop is pushed over by Keane in the penalty area. That's a waste there for the visiting team. And then West Ham struggle with the high ball. They, unfortunately, from their perspective, gave away a soft free kick. 30 minutes gone, West Ham 0, Everton 1. For those that missed the stories earlier on today in the Premier League, the big one is that 20 is now 19. Huddersfield Town officially relegated today following their loss against Crystal Palace and other results not going their way. Burnley were victorious in their match against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Southampton winning at Brighton. Now mathematically impossible for Huddersfield to remain in the Premier League, with Fulham set to join them this week as well. West Ham down the right-hand side, looking to bundle their way forward, but nothing has worked so far. The Snodgrass for Arnautovic or Lucas Perez, and it's how to play for a throw to Everton in the left-back area.
Well, it's certainly a lonely place out on that touchline. As you say, it's a big one, getting back to the bench from there, but it's been a really difficult first half hour for Pellegrini.
Well, the way he set this team up has not worked at all. The players and the system totally unpicked by Marco Silva and Everton. And here they come again, round the back of Zabaleta's position. Cross comes in, it's away by Ogbonna. Breaks to Pablo Zabaleta, actually doing some defending for a few seconds. Cleared upfield towards Arnautovic, who couldn't hold that ball up there. One back by Keane. Arnautovic chases the ball down. Pickford blasts it long. One in the air by Richarlison. Into Cresswell of West Ham. Rice then finds Diop, who goes back to Fabianski. Sigurdsson chasing him, so he has to go long early. Not a great kick. Straight to Richarlison. Trying to get away from Lanzini. Finds the ball back to Gomez. Coleman, then finds Richarlison. Coleman's made a secondary run. Here he is now in the area, round the back for 2-0. It is 2-0 to Everton, and no less than they deserve. It's Bernard with the finish. It's brilliant play down the right-hand side this time, and the Toffees lead by 2 at London Stadium.
Oh, it's a brilliantly well-worked move. Everton, who have been sensational this first, 30 minutes. This time the move comes down the right-hand side. They're right. Seamus Coleman, that fantastic flying fullback, bombing forward, gets to the bar, and then he picks up Bernard, who got on the inside of, you guessed it, Pablo Zabaleta. Found sleeping again, but a great little move. Look at this give and go. Super little ball into Richarlison, then he carries on his run. Seamus Coleman just gets in behind, then he's got the presence of mind, gets his head up, spots Bernard making that run across the 6-yard box, slides it across. Zabaleta reacts too late.
Would you believe it? That is Bernard's first goal in the Premier League for Everton. Did score in the FA Cup against Lincoln earlier in the campaign. That is the first time he's scored in the Premier League, and it comes at London Stadium against the West Ham team that have been frankly atrocious in this opening 33 minutes. They have not arrived in this game at all, and I think the home crowd, they're not angry, they're just bemused as to how bad they've been here.
Oh, it's abysmal. I mean, it's so flat. Tepid performance, really is. I mean, Everton, I think they've actually recognised how poor West Ham are. They've really gone for them here. They've got that second goal, which I think is really important for them. So I don't think they're going to be like Huddersfield. I don't think they give up goals as easily as them, that's for sure.
Well, Manuel Pellegrini's got a big job on here because his team, and the way he set them up, I don't get this 4-2-2-2 formation he's trying today at all. And when it's not worked as badly as this, it doesn't say much for Pellegrini. He hasn't changed anything for
Well,
me.
I mean, look, they've got Lanzini on the left, who's a right footer, Snodgrass on the right, who's a left footer, so they're all coming inside. They've got no natural width, and I guess that's why Zabaleta is bombing up and down this right hand side. But sometimes you've got to say, you know what, our opponents are too good. They're not a Huddersfield, they're not a Fulham. You've got to sit in and actually try and retain the ball, because once you go and leave those spaces open, Everton have just exploited them for 35 minutes now. 2-0, it could have been 3 or 4-0.
Snapping in on every West Ham player, Everton as well. Hammers having absolutely no response to the pressure being put on them by a team, it's worth reminding you, below them in the table going into this game, where they beat at Goodison Park earlier in the season. 10 minutes until half-time. Seamus Coleman down the right-hand side, fires it long towards Calvert-Lewin. It's won by Bonner, who finds a pass to Cresswell, but Bonner then out left, finds a good pass in between two players to Rice, who can turn and bring West Ham forward. Still inside their own half, they find Snodgrass, first time right to Zabaleta, back to Robert Snodgrass again, whose first touch is really poor. Goes out of play though, luckily for him, off an Everton leg for a throw.
I mean, he was called McMessy, wasn't he, Snodgrass, but I haven't seen too much of that today. Certainly not. I mean, look, he likes to drift inside, but once he does, that means Zabaleta's got to go on the overlap, and to be honest, I think he's asking too much of him. I'd like to see Snodgrass just hold his position out wide.
Here's Lucas Perez trying to pick a pocket here for West Ham. Can't find an Arnautovic. Everton win it back. They give it away though to Cresswell, who was retreating with Richarlison. Into Perez again, who finds another awful pass, this time into Garner. And they find a ball to Bernard to Everton in space. Already over the halfway line, streaking forward, he's away from Rice. Trying to find the runner, Luka Digne, but Snodgrass is back there defending. His back pass to Fabianski was nearly straight to Calvert-Lewin, and now you hear a bit of frustration from the home support.
Absolutely. I mean, Snodgrass did the first part well. He tracked the run of Digne, and he's done, well, basically giving Fabianski a really slow back pass. Calvert-Lewin was nearly onto it. You can hear the crowd restless. I mean, they're going to get a terrible reception here when they walk in, and rightly so.
Absolutely listless opening 36 minutes and change from West Ham United. Offered no shots on goal at home in 37 minutes here. Cresswell down the left, away from Richarlison, but no one is around Aaron Cresswell, so he has to get bundling forward on his own. Has been able to win a throw off Coleman. Absolutely no one within 20 yards of Aaron Cresswell on that far side.
Well, that's because he's providing the width, you know, and because of the players selecting and the square pegs in round holes.
Obiang receives the throw, tries to find a return ball to Cresswell. It's cleared away by Everton. has gone off the field for a throw to West Ham. Right about level with the edge of the penalty area on the left. Cresswell will take it. Lucas Perez runs away. It's into Arnautovic. Back to Cresswell. Wants to find space to cross, but he's blocked by Richarlison, who's done well defensively there.
They've just got no pace anywhere, have they, West Ham? Where's their speed, their athleticism? I mean, Snodgrass doesn't have it, Lanzini doesn't have it, Perez doesn't have it, Arnautovic does it at times, but he's probably the only one. They lack legs badly.
West Ham may well need to make as many changes as possible at half-time. Of course, no Felipe Anderson today, who's often the out on the ball on that far side and brings pace to this team. Nico Antonio another, but he's on the bench today.
Well, we question that, because to me, look, they've been susceptible at set pieces, Everton. I did the game for TalkSport against Millwall, and they conceded there. They're really weak at set pieces, I think. And Antonio is basically, he's one of the best at the back post. Terrific with his head. He's got pace to run in behind. We've got to see him at half-time.
Zabaleta forward, looks for Arnautovic. Spinning ball in. Well intercepted by Kurt Zouma.
Another good interception, wasn't it? Really well read there from Zuma. It's been a terrific first half.
Into Arnautovic from the throw. He just lobs the ball straight back into touch.
He's got to do better again. How many times has he given possession away? His success rate must be really low. Look, I know what it's like as a forward. Often you've got to try tricks and flicks, but sometimes just get hold of it, and especially when your side's 2-0 down, keep the ball, relieve the pressure.
Well, once again, West Ham can't stop Everton coming forward, and Andre Gomez will bring them through midfield, right to Richarlison in the penalty area. Fires it low, it hits the legs of Fabianski. Could have gone anywhere, has gone out of play for a throw on the far side. Richarlison maybe didn't make the right decision there in blasting the ball towards the West Ham goal.
Well, it's another brilliant break. That time Gomez feeds Richarlison out wide into those full-back areas. Fabianski with his feet, good stop. But again, they're just attacking at will here, Everton. They've got no answer, West Ham.
Well, I'm really surprised that West Ham have changed absolutely nothing about their formation or tactics in this opening half. As Lanzini bangs one forward, it's going to find Arnautovic, who's taken an early shot on, and that'll be West Ham's first shot of the match, if you could call it that. It goes straight through to Jordan Pickford.
Well, it's just a hopeful punt forward, but the pace of Arnautovic, as we spoke about, is the one player maybe that does possess it. Runs in behind, off Zuma, off Keane, tries an audacious lob from a good 30 yards out. Too ambitious. Never going to test Pickford from there, although he did fumble it slightly, but it was along the ground.
Not a good effort by Marko Arnautovic. Not a good effort from West Ham United.
I mean, that's the sort of thing you'd try when you're full of form and high confidence.
Ball's broken to Robert Snodgrass here on the edge, who takes an early effort. It was Lanzini running forward who was tackled, and Marko Arnautovic says, "Why didn't you pass to me?" Maybe you've seen Marko Arnautovic play recently.
Well, he just picks it up on the edge of the box, goes for the first time finish. You can see what he's trying to do. Bend it into the far corner, just using the curl on the ball, but puts too much on it. Again, another poor finish.
Everton's goal kick goes short and right to Keane, who fires the ball long and high. Two have gone for the ball, and Calvert-Lewin flicked it on. He'd done it better. Richarlison was through a goal there.
He was, but again, the miscommunication in the West Ham defensive line. Cresswell coming out of his slot. I don't know what they've been instructed today, but basically it's just to be so aggressive as possible, but Everton are too cute for them here.
Arnautovic on the halfway, players around him, finds a release ball into Lanzini, then Obiang. Obiang has to knock it back diagonal to Issa Diop. He'll find Zabaleta on the right hand side. Rice in the centre circle goes left to Angelo Ogbonna, still in the team despite Fabian Balbuena returning to fitness and being on the subs bench, an unused substitute during the recent international break. Challenge there on Lanzini results in a West Ham free kick just left of the centre circle. Challenge on him came from Richarlison, who does have a nasty streak in his game, there's no doubt about that. And in fact, it's a yellow card for Richarlison, first of the match.
I think it's his first tackle, missed time, typical forwards challenge. First one of the game, and he gets a yellow. A bit harsh, but it was a poor tackle. I don't think he's really done it in danger, Lanzini, but
certainly wasn't a great challenge there from Richarlison allows West Ham to knock this free kick in. Snodgrass or no West Ham player had made a run. And if that doesn't sum up West Ham in this first half, I don't know what else would. A chip towards the back post and everybody stopped on the edge. And Robert Snodgrass says, what were you expecting?
Well, I think he was expecting someone to actually be peeling around the back post. That's where he's delivered it, but everyone's just stood still. I don't know whether they got a block on there. We'll have to see it again, but really disappointing. As you say, just summed up their first half performance. Devoid of ideas.
You just never know what you're going to get with West Ham United. Today we're getting another dreadful performance like the ones we've seen this season against Cardiff City and Wimbledon, certainly in 2019. Very disjointed today. Big half-time on for Manuel Pellegrini. If West Ham can somehow struggle to get there at 2-0 down, as Everton come forward again here. Cross comes in from the right-hand side, cleared away as far as Declan Rice. No ball forward for him at all, so he has to try and take on Garner himself. He's beaten him. Still no pass on for Declan Rice. Still no ball. Has to go back to Lanzini. Forward to Lucas Perez, who can't keep hold of the ball with Seamus Coleman bearing down on him. And Everton are back on it once again, and Lucas Perez getting a bit of treatment from the West Ham crowd, who can certainly get on players' backs at times, but he offers absolutely nothing, Lucas Perez, for me.
He's getting the bird there, but he's got to release the ball much quicker. Too long, too slow, ponderous in possession.
Pulled on the right channel for Richarlison for Everton. Last minute of the first half approach. Has an overlapping runner, but keeps the ball himself. Obiang is with him. Goes back to Coleman. All the way back now to Michael Keane. Well, we've spoken about how bad West Ham have been, and rightly so. They have been bad, but this has got to be one of the most assured performances that Everton have put in over 45 minutes this season.
Well, certainly they carried that second half from Chelsea into this half here. They've come flying out the traps. Absolutely superb. Thoroughly deserved their 2-goal lead.
And with Zabaleta trying to find a ball in towards Marko Arnautovic, or Michael Keane got there, but his control let him down, and West Ham have a corner, and West Ham are sending the subs to warm up here just before the half-time whistle. I think we're going to see them at the start of the second.
Certainly, that's ominous. Mikel Antonio and Chicharito Hernandez warming up.
West Ham have been good from set pieces themselves in recent weeks.
Well, against Huddersfield, Ogbonna, he came up with a good, didn't he, from a set piece to get them back in the game. He needs something similar here.
Corner comes in from Robert Snodgrass towards the back post. Ogbonna is there. It's well won though by Michael Keane. Got up just before Ogbonna could turn that home. Recovered by Arnautovic on the left-hand side. Back towards Cresswell. Cresswell's deep delivery towards Diop is overhit. Won well by Digne at the back post. Another corner for West Ham on the right-hand side.
This could be the final attack. Need to get the delivery right. That was a good ball in. Ogbonna just went over his head. Keane with a terrific clearance. Has to make another one here.
Robert Snodgrass will get another chance to deliver. 1 minute added on at the end of the 45. We are well into that now, so this will be the final act of this opening half. Snodgrass's ball in, away at the nearby Richarlison. Bernard chasing Snodgrass to get on the end of the second ball. He wins it, and it's cleared downfield, and Richarlison, well, he couldn't get on the end of it. Pablo Zabaleta cut across him, knocks it out of play, and luckily enough for West Ham, this absolutely dreadful half of football for the home team comes to an end, and they were booed there by the home support. And frankly, how bad they were, it wasn't vociferous enough. But for Everton, they've been absolutely fantastic. 2 goals in this opening half away from home. Kurt Zuma on 5, Bernard on 33 gives them a deserved and commanding lead at the break. It is West Ham 0, Everton 2. You're listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much. Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance, Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
He's put down the dumbbells and has turned up here for the show. Chris Iwelumo is on the preview show. A Premier League winner, Paul Parker, joins us on the Premier League preview show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
You're listening to Premier League Live and our coverage of West Ham United up against Everton, two teams hoping to be the best of the rest in the Premier League, and it's Everton who are bossing the game so far. Here's the best of it. Ball comes into Zuma! An early goal for Everton, and it's Kurt Zuma with a free header from 6 yards out. There is a man on the post, but he couldn't get it clear. And in this battle of two teams trying to finish best of the rest, it's Everton who scored the first goal.
Zuma just rises highest, gets above his man. I think it's above Diop, it might have been. Heads it down into the ground and just bounces over the man on the line.
Forward to Sigurdsson, down the line to Calvert-Lewin, who is through for two. Strike hits Fabianski, back to Sigurdsson. Great save again by Lucas Fabianski, who at the moment is keeping West Ham in this game. Helped on down the right channel to Zabaleta, who's round the back of the fullback, cuts back across, finds Lanzini in the area, who waited and dawdled on the ball, allowed Everton to steal, and it's broken through to Pickford. Coleman then finds Richarlison. Coleman's made a secondary run. Here he is now in the area, round the back for 2-0. It is 2-0 to Everton, and no less than they deserve. It's Bernard with the finish. It's brilliant play down the right-hand side this time, and the Toffees lead by 2 at London Stadium.
Pablo Zabaleta found sleeping again.
Yeah, that's the story of the first half here at London Stadium. David Connolly, you heard in that package alongside me for this game. And David, you cover West Ham a lot this season. Is this as bad as you've seen them play?
Yeah, it's certainly it's up there. Make no mistake, they've been absolutely woeful West Ham. I think that probably sums it up.
What about the changes that we expect from West Ham in the second half? We saw Antonio warming up, Hernandez warming up.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we questioned Antonio's omission at the start. I felt he'd be really suited to this game with his aerial capability and basically Everton's weakness. But look, I'm sure he'll come on. Hernandez will definitely come on. He'll be home for a similar impact, I guess, as he did against Huddersfield. And it could be anyone. Take your pick. I mean, half the team could come off. Lanzini possibly, Snodgrass certainly, Lucas Perez absolutely. Where'd you start?
Quite rightly, we have criticised West Ham for how bad they have been, but there will be Everton fans listening around the world saying, come on guys, let's talk about how good the Toffees have been, and they have been very good.
They have. I mean, look, you know, they've started like a house on fire, basically came flying out the traps. Their possession play was excellent. They've carried on that performance against Chelsea into the first half here. Been brilliant on the ball, broken with real pace and penetration, and there've been a couple of really good goals, but arguably they could have had more if they're a little bit more clinical, I guess. Where would they be with a number 9? I mean, you know, how good might they be?
Frustrating, certainly, for Marco Silva on the touchline. His team just 2 up. It should be 3, it should be 4. One of the most dominant performances we've seen from a side away from home, certainly in recent weeks in the Premier League. David Connolly for the moment. Thank you very much indeed. Enjoy your half-time sweets, my friend. Let's look back on what else has happened today in the Premier League. He always brings the sweets. He's generous to us. He loves us here. In the Premier League today, lots of big stories. Man City beating Fulham by 2-0 earlier in the day. Southampton, what a win for them by 1-0 against Brighton. Burnley beating Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2-0. Huge win for Sean Dyche's side. Crystal Palace 2-0 victors over Huddersfield Town. Leicester by the same scoreline beating Bournemouth, and he finished Manchester United 2, Watford 1. Big story of the day came at Selhurst Park, where Crystal Palace beat Huddersfield Town, and it confirmed that the Terriers will be playing in the Championship next season, relegated with 6 games to go, equaling a record set by Derby County a decade ago for being the earliest team relegated from this division. Let's hear from their current manager Jan Sievert, who told TalkSport after the game today they have been so close at times this season.
In a way, I tried in each game to get something out of it, and I think we were so often so close, and it sums it up today that a penalty brought us in the wrong direction, because we didn't have a penalty for this year but conceded nearly 8 or 10. I'm not sure about the number, I have to look it up to be fair, but still it's like a big disappointment when you have such a performance and a team sticks together today, which was a real team on the pitch today. Made me proud today to see them playing.
That's Jan Sievert speaking earlier today, the manager of Huddersfield Town. Look, David Connolly, I mean, I suppose you have to say things like that on a day like today when you've been relegated, but in truth, they've never been close for a second, have they?
Well, not really. I mean, they had a good performance, actually, ironically, against West Ham. Could have and probably should have had those 3 points, and maybe, I guess, what would that have done? Prolong the agony for a little bit, you know, but still, I mean, they found it just that step up, a bit too far the level, didn't really invest wisely enough, didn't get a centre forward in, they certainly needed goals, didn't get that player that they needed. I think Sievert will probably have a decent crack at it in the Championship. I think they bought well. Carlin Grant, I think, was bought for the Championship, and I think he'll score goals there. And look, they've obviously come out with really good results in terms of their finances, so they'll definitely be stronger, and it wouldn't surprise me if they got back up again next season.
Fulham could join them and are likely to join them in the Championship in midweek. They lost earlier in the day to Manchester City. Let's hear from their current manager, Scott Parker.
I think us as a football club, not just me personally as in the role I'm in and stuff like that, but us as a football club are not going to be defined with games against Man City. These are games when you come into this division are probably a little bit of a free hit for a club like us. Of course, in saying that, you like to think that maybe you can try and pick something up, but that's not been the case today. But you're right in what you say. Next 6 games are massive for us. Some games are winnable games, and we need to finish this season in a real positive way, really.
Yeah, tough mission for Scott Parker as he came in to replace Claudio Ranieri. David Connolly, quick question on them. If they lose against Watford in midweek, they will be relegated down to the Championship alongside Huddersfield Town by my maths. Keep hearing that Scott Parker's done a good job there. He's not really, has he?
Yeah, I know, but look, that's you being a bit cynical. Look, I mean, they've showed a bit of character. They've never been, I don't think, thoroughly beaten. If they're going to lose, they're going down at least fighting. Look, Man City, you've seen them put 7 past teams, past Schalke, put 9 past teams. They put a couple past them today, and arguably, you know, there was a spell where they might have got back in it. Look, they were decent against Chelsea, weren't they? But they still lost. But I think they've shown at least a bit of fighting spirit and pride.
Right, that is what has happened today across the Premier League. We've got games for you tomorrow and right across the week in the Premier League. Tomorrow it's Cardiff City up against Chelsea. Liverpool-Tottenham is our big feature match at 4:30 UK time. Then games on Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Monday Night Football is Arsenal against Newcastle. On Tuesday we've got Watford against Fulham and Wolves against Manchester United, and also Chelsea, Brighton and Man City, Cardiff to come. A really packed out week in the Premier League. Big second half coming up for us now, though, at London Stadium, where West Ham surely can't be as bad as they were in the second half as they were in the first. Truly atrocious. Everton on their way, though, to 3 valuable points in the chase to be best of the rest. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance, Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Cardiff City legend Danny Gavidan joins us on the preview show. He's got some new teeth. The former Millwall captain Matt Lawrence with us on the preview show. Former Liverpool striker Neil Mellor is on the preview show this week.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
Welcome back to our coverage from London Stadium. West Ham United losing 2-0 against Everton at the interval, and they are going to be making a couple of changes here. We can see Javier Hernandez, the man who saved the day against Huddersfield, coming on, and also Mikel Antonio. Pedro Obiang has gone off at half-time, and looks like Lucas Perez as well will be off for this second half. David Connolly's alongside me, former West Ham striker, also once of Feyenoord and Leicester and the Republic of Ireland as well. Plenty of pedigree alongside me here, and had to be done, didn't it? At least 2 changes.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he's made the right call. I just wonder how they're going to line up, whether Lanzini will slot into the middle of the park with Declan Rice to get him playing from in there. We'll have to wait and see, but Chicharito Hernandez, he'll certainly be down through the middle. I think Antonio's a good call. He normally likes to operate off the left-hand side, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, looks like they may well have gone to more of a 4-3-3 at the start of this second half. We are just about to get underway. Everton kick us off. They kick from left to right as we look in this second period. Blue shirt, shorts and socks with white numbering and trim. I'll run through their team now. Jordan Pickford's in goal. Back 4 of Lucas Digne, Kurt Zuma, Michael Keane and Seamus Coleman. Idrissa Gana and Andre Gomez in midfield, with Gylfi Sigurdsson just in front of them. Richarlison and Bernard supporting Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's up front. For West Ham, it's Lucas Fabianski. Back 4, Aaron Cresswell, Angelo Ogbonna, Issa Diop and Pablo Zabaleta. Midfield now looks like Declan Rice, Robert Snodgrass and Manuel Lanzini, with Marko Arnautovic, Mikel Antonio and Javier Hernandez forming a front three. Arnautovic looks on the left-hand side here. Antonio right, Hernandez through the centre with Lanzini backing up Javier Hernandez. Certainly more offensive from West Ham, and quite frankly it has to be. They've got a throw with Zabaleta. West Ham in claret shirts with blue sleeves, white shorts and white socks, kicking from right to left in this second period. Throw in by Zabaleta into Lanzini, who volleys the ball straight into touch. Out for such a long time, Manuel Lanzini with injury. I think West Ham today have certainly missed the influence of Samir Nasri, who came on and changed the game against Huddersfield Town, struggling once again with a calf problem as Everton just throw the ball long down the line, and once again Pablo Zabaleta is nowhere to be seen in the right back area. Luckily Declan Rice on the cover this time. Second half not started great for West Ham so far.
Well, it might take him a little bit of time, I think, to implement all those changes. Obviously you've worked for, I guess, nearly the whole international break. It would have been, you know, on the shape you're going to play against Everton, how you're going to go about it with the front two. I guess certain players are away international duty, and then to rip it all up after 45 from such a dire display, it might take a little bit of time to get going here.
We're still trying to reorganise West Ham. Marko Arnautovic, during this little break for a West Ham throw, has come over for a chat with Manuel Pellegrini about where he's playing and what they're trying to do. Mr. Diop has knocked the ball into touch under a bit of pressure from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What about Everton in this second half? So dominant in the first, didn't score the goals they should have done. Will they get back on the front foot? Will they want to score that third, the fourth?
Well, they'll certainly, I think, be pleased. They would have taken 2-0 at half-time before the game. They'll know and they'll expect a reaction from West Ham here. So they're going to have to make sure they stand up and be counted, because it will come, as it did against Huddersfield. You'll certainly think it would anyway.
Seamus Coleman chips into Calvert-Lewin, won by Diop, but breaks to Bernard. Lovely first-time ball outside of him to Dinu, who's going to keep this in. Up against Pablo Zabaleta, gets a low cross in. Too close to Lucas Fabianski, but once again Pablo Zabaleta sleepwalking his way through this game, allowing the cross to come in. Lots of concerns about his performance today. Mark Noble out warming up now. Will West Ham make a third change? They've certainly lacked a bit of dynamism in midfield without him out there, as Lanzini looks forward to Arnautovic, fouled there by Coleman. Arnautovic goes down holding his ankle.
Well, just a little reminder there of what's to come. Coleman really aggressive in on Arnautovic. He's got his work cut out today. I'm not sure I'll put Arnie up against Seamus Coleman, because certainly going to need a bit of character. The track is running in behind, and if Everton have the ball a lot, then he'll be bombing on for fun.
Free kick left hand side, about 45 yards from the end line on the left. Lanzini and Snodgrass are over it. Arnautovic had looked for an early ball down the line, which didn't come. Change the angle, cross by Snodgrass in towards Ogbonna, who's won the first header, but it's broken to Bernard, who'll volley the ball upfield and away. All the way to Fabianski, who comes out of his penalty area. Ball forward to Cresswell, and still London Stadium absolutely dead on this Saturday evening kickoff in the UK. Almost no atmosphere being provided at all by the home fans. Nothing to cheer about being given by the home players, as Zabaleta is caught there by Calvert-Lewin. He's got lucky there, Zabaleta. Looked like he overrun it and jumped to the ground and hoped he would get a free kick. Paul Tierney, the referee today, obliging the veteran. Well, almost 5 minutes gone in this second half, and almost nothing has happened. Not what Manuel Pellegrini would have wanted from his players after that dismal first half. It's Andrew Antonio has brought the ball down on his chest. No, referee says the arm of Mikel Antonio. That's a free kick to Everton inside their own half, left-hand side. Jordan Pickford comes out to take it. West Ham forced all the way back into their own half from the high ball here from Pickford. Looks for Richarlison, brings it down under no challenge on the right hand side. 1-2 play with Calvert-Lewin, can't get away from Rice, but it breaks to Sigurdsson. His early ball intercepted by Cresswell, who looks over the top to Javier Hernandez, doesn't find Javier Hernandez, and once again West Ham give Everton the ball straight back.
I mean, look, he's a fox in the box, Hernandez, but he's not going to run away from you, so Keane and Zuma know they can keep quite a high line here. That was a hopeful ball over the top, and really it's got to be to perfection for Hernandez. Get the ball in the box, he will score certainly, but he doesn't possess the pace that Calvert-Lewin does.
Zabaleta heads infield to Snodgrass. Snodgrass beaten to that bouncing ball by Garno. Just a little bit of sprinting from a West Ham player, and Zabaleta has lifted the crowd slightly. More lack of urgency about anything West Ham are trying to do at the moment, as Antonio receives from the throw and tries to turn away from Digne. Intercepted by the Everton man, but it goes for a throw-in to the Hammer. Zabaleta into Snodgrass, back to Snodgrass again from Zabaleta. Whips it across towards Lanzini. It's away well by Zuma. Good defending there by Kurt Zuma, the unknown Chelsea man. One back by Declan Rice, who's found a pass to the halfway, and Diop.
He's had a good game, isn't he, so far today, Rice, I think. I was questioning how he'd perform, and I think he's certainly got that monkey off his back. You know, you like monkeys on your back, don't you, on your holidays? But
it certainly happened to me in Marrakesh this week, but
I think Rice has had one in terms of playing for England, but he's done that now, and he's put in a really good shift here. Good performance. He's certainly been the best West Ham player.
You got me there, mate.
That's a good segue, isn't it?
Very nice. Very
That's
nice
why I'm
indeed.
paid the big bucks, right?
Revealing my holiday stories on air.
Do you want to go into that? Or?
Not right now.
No.
Not right now. Let's get into this free kick from West Ham. Manuel Lanzini has won it on the right-hand side, and he will take it too. Whips it in, and they move the angle, but that allowed Sigurdsson to come and close it down. And Manuel Lanzini has not looked sharp today at all, has he?
Atrocious. I mean, their set pieces today have been so bad. That time took it short, as you say, but that just allowed Sigurdsson to go and close the angle down the distance. Got the block on, but I mean, that's what you don't want. You don't want to do that in front of the fans. You know, just start doing the simple things well. Get them on side. They've certainly turned here, rightly so. It means a lot of them pay big bucks to go and watch them. Put in a really dire display like this.
Is there a feeling with this West Ham performance that the season's over, job's done, off on your holidays to Marrakesh or otherwise?
Well, look, I hope not, because they should be fighting for Europa League football, certainly.
I'm not seeing it so far. We are from Everton as they come forward again. Ardinia's cross is overhit. Unlucky there, they had players in the box. And Arnautovic back defending, being chased down by Seamus Coleman. He's kept it on initially, and then runs it into touch, and it's going to be a corner to Everton, and Marko Arnautovic cutting a very frustrated figure out there.
Well, I did question the selection of Arnautovic up against Seamus Coleman, because to me he's going to have to show real character, and I'm not sure Arnie's got it. Seamus Coleman certainly does. Didn't give up there, won his side a corner, really good play, just forced Arnie into an error right on the byline.
Just wonder if we are seeing the final days of Marko Arnautovic as a West Ham player. Lost a lot of friends with the way he behaved in the January transfer window. Has hit nowhere near the form ever since. West Ham defending a corner. Sigurdsson's ball in, and once again West Ham don't clear it. A volley by Gomez was blocked by Zabaleta. Recent weeks, West Ham's defending from set plays and corners absolutely dreadful. Keane has now won it high off Antonio, shoots from distance, blocked off a West Ham head, and Everton here threatening to get that third that would absolutely kill this one off.
Well, they're living on the edge here. Zabaleta, though, what a block, comes flying out. Gomez on the volley, looked like a certain goal. It's another set piece though they've got to defend.
Yeah, from the previous corner, Zabaleta got there first, but almost then forgot to clear the ball with his head, and it broke to Gomez, who would have scored but for Zabaleta's intervention. 55 minutes gone. West Ham 0, Everton 2 at London Stadium. Sigurdsson's ball towards the back post, towards Zuma. This time it is won by a West Ham head in Diop. Antonio then chasing down Digne, who's done really well to get it back to Coleman. Antonio still chasing all the way back to Pickford. Well, the crowd will like that from Antonio. Just some effort, some willing from one of their players, which we really haven't seen enough of in this game. Christine then adjudged to have fouled Pablo Zabaleta on the halfway line with the ball high in the air.
Well, I mean, the two Everton fullbacks have been superb today, haven't they, so far? Lucas Digne, who I wondered how would he do, because look, I'm a big fan of Leighton Baines. He's a former teammate. I think he's superb, but really can't argue too much, can you, about Lucas Digne? But he's been absolutely sensational. Coleman as well on the right hand side. Just know what you're going to get.
Here's Aaron Cresswell coming forward for West Ham on the opposite flank. Ball played into him, but West Ham captain is offside as Lanzini slipped Cresswell through.
Well, that's the difference. Look, I mean, he got beaten by the first one, Coleman, but he makes a recovery challenge, gets the block in. Look, he's offside anyway, Cresswell, but Coleman doesn't give up, keeps going, runs with his man, knows he's got to go to ground to make the block. He does that. Brilliant defending. Big call as well midweek for Ireland, because arguably Matt Doherty is having probably a more stellar season for Wolves, but does play as a wing back, and Mick McCarthy had a big call to make. Stuck with Coleman, and just deserved.
As is Everton's 2-0 lead deserved at London Stadium. Been much the better side. West Ham still to have a shot on goal in this second half, despite trailing by 2-0 since the 33rd minute. Aaron Cresswell gets West Ham back in possession on the halfway line. Back to Ogbonna, who goes right to Diop. Still inside their own half, West Ham. Pumped upfield towards Antonio. Managed to get away from his marker there, but totally lost the flight of the ball to hit him on the back, and Everton were able to clear it. Garland then beats Arnautovic. Referee says it's handball. As claimed, you could hear there on our effects mics from the home support. West Ham want to get on with it here. Declan Rice taking the free kick short right to Snodgrass. Down the line towards Antonio. Low cross in, away by Zuma. It's going to be a corner to West Ham, and already Mikel Antonio having an impact. I really can't understand with no Anderson why Antonio didn't start this game.
Absolutely not. I'm a big fan of his. I was at Southampton with him. He was very raw then, young player. Certainly come on. Brilliant for West Ham. He's made a really good impact here, certainly.
Snodgrass with the in-swinging delivery from the right-hand side. It's towards Diop. It breaks towards Arnautovic. Away from goal, but he has kept it in West Ham possession. Crossed by Cresswell, looped towards the back post. Pickford's flapped at it. Punches only as far as Snodgrass. Can't get away from Richarlison. Bit of pressure from West Ham.
Well, then a chance there. Free header. Looked like Ogbonna might have just missed that.
Throw in, taken by Snodgrass, back to Lanzini. Can't get away from Richarlison. They're forced all the way to the halfway line. Zappaleta then looks for Rice, who's done superbly well to get away from the sliding challenge of Calvert-Lewin with another player for company too. And he brings them forward with a 1-2 with Snodgrass and finds Lanzini. Then Antonio. Antonio's cross hits Digne, breaks to Snodgrass, forward to Lanzini. Challenge in the penalty area by Lucas Digne. Ball in the air, loops over the Everton goal for another corner, and we can hear the crowd finally getting behind this side, who are attacking really for a prolonged period for the first time in the match.
Well, they had to make a response at some point. They've certainly done that the last 5 or 6 minutes here, West Ham.
Don't forget, Everton looked comfortable against Newcastle a few weeks ago at St James's. Went on to lose the match as the ball is whipped in towards Ogbonna. It's away from Keane. Garner then gets the first touch away from Cresswell, and the second. Brilliant play by Idrissa Garner, and he releases Calvert-Lewin. Zabaleta nearly sold himself. Calvert-Lewin still going. There's a runner to his left, but he delayed it just enough to allow Ogbonna to steal. Breaks to Gylfi Sigurdsson. We'll find Bernard on the left-hand side, up against Manuel Lanzini. West Ham getting bodies back, but Bernard's away from Lanzini, and he whips a good ball in too. Richarlison is there. Really good defending by Aaron Cresswell, who's gone down holding his head here, and the referee is going to stop the action as Aaron Cresswell, I think, got a full header from Richarlison in the back of his head as the Brazilian looked to make it 3.
Well, super skill from Bernard out wide. Little lift over Lanzini's leg here. Gets to the byline. Great ball across the box with his left foot. Hung up for Richarlison, just seemed to catch Cresswell on the back of the head. But on that earlier break, Calvert-Lewin, if it had released earlier, there's a really good opportunity there for Everton. They had a man extra on the counter-attack, and they broke ever so well. I think another goal here, certainly the game will be over. Declan Rice going back to him. Previous move, showed real composure. I think this is the best game I've seen him play, Declan Rice. I personally have had the jury out on him for a little bit, but today I've been proved wrong. It's superb in a really poor team performance, as we said.
Yeah, around about the only West Ham player to come out of this one with any credit so far. Everton coming forward down the right hand side after West Ham gave him the ball back. Coleman running at Marko Arnautovic. Richarlison now, slight miscontrol, but retrieves it with Cresswell for company. Right to the Everton captain, Seamus Coleman again. Infield to Richarlison. Runners right and left. Finds Coleman. Sigurdsson's gone. Back to Richarlison again, who turns away from Rice and gets a shot away. It's on target from Richarlison, but always bobbling through to Lucas Fabianski, who's been the busier of the two goalkeepers by some margin. I've got that now as 12 Everton shots, 8 of which on target, 2 goals. Don't often see a team away from home as dominant as this when you're not in the top 6.
No, absolutely. I mean, it was on target. It was a bit of a weak effort out on this right-hand side, cutting in onto his weaker left foot. I much prefer him playing off the left.
Cresswell will find Javier Hernandez, who I don't think has touched the ball since coming on. Arnautovic now to Lanzini, back to Arnautovic, left-hand side, runs straight into Richarlison, and they just look sharper, don't they, all over the pitch to this Everton side than their West Ham counterparts. Richarlison into Sigurdsson, back to Richarlison. The space all over the field favours Everton now. It's left to Digne, cross comes in, away from Diop. Snodgrass is able to retrieve it, but Gomez steps across to stop his advance, then brings him down as well. Do you think maybe that some Everton players might be thinking a bit about that game against Newcastle, where they were actually 2-0 up with 64 minutes played and went on to lose the game by 3-2?
Yeah, but, you know, I don't know, I can't really see that sort of response coming here from West Ham so far. I mean, they did against Huddersfield, but they just look more up for it today, certainly.
Ball just fired into Marko Arnautovic there at pace, not sure what he was expected to do with that. West Ham absolutely bereft of ideas. Newcastle on that day that we were speaking about, really inspired by the performances of Miguel Almiron, Jose Perez and Solomon Rondon on the day.
The only thing is, if you're West Ham, you can't keep expecting players to come on and make a difference, you know, dig you out of a hole. Too often your luck runs out.
Very much out today as Everton come forward again. Good challenge on Calvert-Lewin from Diop, but it goes out of play for a throw on that far side to Everton. 5-10 yards over the halfway.
Sorry, just left Calvert-Lewin short there. That return pass from Digne. Oh, it's a hospital ball, but to me, someone's struggling, giving the signal Pellegrini. I don't know who that is, but I think there might be another change for the Hammers.
It looks like Marko Arnautovic is the one who's communicating with the bench. There are some players, though, David, I'm sure you would have seen this during your playing days, that when they take a knock, some run it off and others are happy to go off. Doesn't strike me as someone that digs in. Marko Arnautovic, when the going gets tough, as Declan Rice has fouled Gylfi Sigurdsson here and picks up a yellow card midway inside his own half.
Well, let's hope he does dig in. I mean, the easy thing here is to come off. You know, look, if you're injured and you can't continue, but Arnautovic wouldn't want to come off here, leaving his side in the lurch.
Maybe this Everton performance shouldn't surprise us too much. Their away points tally was 15 going into this game, equaling their final total for 17-18. They have been better on the road than at home this season, certainly in recent weeks and months. In terms of performance, thinking about Burnley when they absolutely stuffed them as well at Turf Moor. Some great away days for those Toffees fans this season. As Sigurdsson's ball is chipped in and it's won by Lucas Fabianski, who looks to get West Ham going quickly. Keane stops him. It's Grady Diangana who's about to come on for West Ham, so I think it is Marko Arnautovic who's about to leave the field of play. It'll be interesting to see what kind of reception he gets, having been booed as he went off against Huddersfield last time you were here a couple of weeks ago covering the Hammers. I think it just feels like it's a story that needs to come to an end. Arnautovic and West Ham relations soured to such a degree at this point. Here's a Bonner for West Ham, approaching the halfway line, into Manuel Lanzini. Garner for company. Bonner can't find a release. It's intercepted by Richarlison, and it is surely going to be Marko Arnautovic leaving the stage on 65 minutes. In fact, we're not going to get the change right now, despite Pellegrini having a chat with Diangana extensively at the moment in their giant technical area. Did take a hefty challenge, didn't he, a little while ago, Marko Arnautovic, and has kind of been limping around ever since, but I don't know, I have my doubts. I do have my doubts about these kind of situations. If he really wanted to play on, could he play on?
Well, he's had a couple of weeks break. I mean, very unusual in that time. What have they been doing? I mean, some teams go on a few days holiday, some get their players time off. I mean, what have they been doing? Certainly doesn't look like they've been putting the effort in on the training ground. So they've been all over the place here. Woeful team performance.
Marko Arnautovic is back defending here for West Ham. Looks for a release outright. There was no one there for him. Cresswell then passing the ball straight to Garner. That's broken to Manuel Lanzini, luckily for West Ham. Giving the ball away for fun here against Everton. Apart from this man, Declan Rice, who finds a poke to Robert Snodgrass. Certainly you feel they've missed the guile of Samir Nasri and Felipe Anderson today, West Ham. They are a team in search of a centre forward to bind this way of playing together as well. It wasn't Arnautovic for a while. It certainly isn't anymore. And you can just hear again a section of the West Ham support giving Marko Arnautovic a negative reception as he goes off.
He can't wait to get off, can he? A little jog off if he is injured.
Just ran faster there than he has all game. Grady Diangana, product of the academy at West Ham, coming on. Made his name in a big Carabao Cup win earlier in the season. Got a nice run in the team as well around the end of 2018, but has been rarely used since then. It's the final change West Ham can make.
It's funny, isn't it? He gets a high five from everyone on the bench, but
well,
I think he might be getting a bit of stick from the fans there, though, and rightly so.
Another poor performance when Arnautovic goes off quote-unquote injured. Here's Diangana running now at that full-back area. Fouled surely by Lucas Digne. Well, the officials haven't given Grady Diangana a free kick. Much to his frustration, it will be an Everton throw. Zabaleta puts in a strong challenge on Calvert-Lewin. Breaks though to Bernard, who's then dispossessed by Snodgrass. Goes for a throw on that far side.
At least Antonio is now out on this left-hand side, as I said. That's where he prefers to play. It's more comfortable out here. In fact, I just wonder, he could actually be the number 9. You know, I think they need someone of physical presence through the middle today, because Hernandez, you know, he's up against Keane and Zuma. Really powerful players. He hasn't really got anything off them so far. I think Antonio could have played that role.
Well, I think it's fair to say that West Ham have been an absolute mess today. And Manuel Pellegrini, I don't think there's any doubts that he will be in charge for the start of next season, but there's lots to do in the summer for West Ham. There's some obvious deficiencies in the squad.
I mean, do you think they took Everton too lightly? I mean, you know, they lost against Chelsea. Chelsea lost against Everton. Yeah. And, you know, he's gone with the 4-4-2 at home. With Lucas Perez as one of the forwards.
Every time they've played this formation this season, when I've watched West Ham, they've failed. Bournemouth at home, Wolves at home, now Everton at home. Doesn't have the players to play in this way, Manuel Pellegrini. Doesn't seem to be learning that lesson over and over again. And it's come to West Ham's detriment. They've certainly been more solid since going back to the 4-3-3/4-5-1. Though particularly uninspiring going forward still. Here's Richarlison for Everton, approaching 70 minutes played here on the edge of the area. Eventually challenged by Snodgrass after doing 2 or 3 circles looking for a pass. Ball into Sigurdsson, challenged by Declan Rice. West Ham back on it. A triangle play there between Rice, Zabaleta and Diop, but they do find a ball to Cresswell. Left now to Mikel Antonio. Might start risking some bodies forward now, West Ham, because the game has been gone for a long, long time. Antonio tries to beat 2 and runs straight into Garner. He's guilty of that sometimes, Antonio overrunning it. Well, there's nowhere for him to go.
Well, no, there wasn't. What I would say, there's no point running inside, because Everton have got 2 holding midfield players, so you're just going into traffic. He's got to maybe go on the outside.
They've won it back here with Cresswell, finding Lanzini. Lanzini trying to run infield, gets away from the challenge, then looks for a pass to man in the penalty area. His chip is really poor, and Michael Keane has gone down. He might have caught an accidental swinging arm there from Lanzini as he looked to turn away from him and Garner, holding his head, so the referee has stopped it, understandably so.
Just wonder, actually, was it a clash of heads here with his own teammate?
Yeah, you're right, absolutely. Just getting that on the replay here. It was Garner running into Keane as Lanzini got away from the pair. But then when he gets the chance to pass the ball in, what an awful ball that was from Manuel Lanzini.
And they were lucky, actually, rescued by the referee, because they were on the break there. They were clean through, Everton. Here he is. Look, I think he's sitting down getting a little bit of stick from the fans.
Yeah, we're just seeing a video of Marko Arnautovic as he went off, and weirdly the fans behind that dugout are actually quite close to the players, considering the way this crowd is set up. So if anyone wanted their say to Marko Arnautovic, he would have heard it. And you can take it from David Connolly. The West Ham fans have got the ump with you. They will let you know about it.
Well, they might not be as close as they were at Upton Park with the Boleyn, but they can certainly make their feelings known. And they're a smart crowd, right? They love their football. They know their football as well. You can't kid them.
I think it's fair to say that Marko Arnautovic has the feeling of someone going through the motions until the summer. It's not something football fans like to see, but Everton not going through the motions here. They're coming forward with real style, and they find Calvert-Lewin. Great play by Gylfi Sigurdsson once again. Calvert-Lewin got a snapshot away. Hits the side netting there, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, when he maybe should have done better. But if they want a third here, Everton, it's there for the taking, because West Ham look dead and buried here.
Well, it's a really good move again, though. Calvert-Lewin always willing to run beyond the back line of West Ham. Declan Rice didn't have the pace to stick with him. In the end, Cresswell had to come across from his left-back slot, forced him onto his left foot, couldn't quite keep it on target, but I think he's been a real good outlet for them today, Calvert-Lewin. Full of running.
Here's Robert Snodgrass from West Ham in the centre circle. Running a pass right to Diop. Into Diangana. What an awful pass that is from Grady Diangana. Straight to Calvert-Lewin. Luckily for him, Calvert-Lewin's pass was poor, but it broke to Diangana, who gave it away again. This time to Richarlison, who just tries an early cross. Hits Bonner. Well, West Ham look pretty finished here, don't they? And they've got defending to do from a corner, which is not their forte. Well,
it's tough circumstances, I think, to bring the young man into Diangana. Obviously, he knows the crowd are turned. It's a really poor performance. There's a lot on him, to keep possession on. Was surprised maybe Noble didn't come on, but I guess gone for someone a bit more creative.
I mean, you could have changed 11 players, couldn't you, if you were Manuel Pellegrini? Kept one in his locker because he knows West Ham's team is often going down with injured players, as Arnautovic has here. Corner comes in from Gylfi Sigurdsson towards the back post. Diangana's header finds Snodgrass, who just lumped it up in the air away. Bernard retrieves it in his own half on the thigh and goes all the way back to Jordan Pickford. 74 minutes gone here. West Ham 0, Everton 2 on Premier League Live. And just a reminder, we're back with you tomorrow. Big games in the Premier League keep on coming. Liverpool looking to go back top of the table as they take on Tottenham at Anfield. Also Cardiff against Chelsea Monday night. We've got Arsenal Newcastle for you. Games on Tuesday and Wednesday this week as well, including, by the way, on Wednesday night, live with us here on Premier League Live, the first game of Tottenham Hotspur in their brand new stadium. Months delayed, but we will now be able to get artisanal cheese during a game, and that's an important thing for us. Live against Crystal Palace. We'll bring you all the fanfare from Tottenham Hotspur's new home.
That'll be exciting, won't it, to see that?
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it. I mean, like any new build, it's always delayed. I don't see a house ever getting completed on time or a building. Certainly not in London.
Does look absolutely fantastic. I did see it before it was finished, but we'll come back to that as Calvert-Lewin's through a goal here. Oh, he should have done better. He was found round the back of Bonner. Lovely through ball to him. Dominic Calvert-Lewin made a really smart run. Picked out intelligently from the right-hand side by Seamus Coleman, who's been absolutely fantastic today.
I think actually
got on the end of it.
I think it was Michael Keane who played that
you're right
ball.
On the replay. Yes, absolutely. Michael Keane's ball was so good, I assumed it must have been somebody else.
Yeah, well, Calvert-Lewin, though, again, just running off into that back line as he's done all day. Lacked a bit of composure, though, blasted it over the bar. I just wonder where would they be, Everton, if they did have a little bit more reliable number 9. Because I think Calvert-Lewin he's certainly got promise, hasn't he? But they're big shoes to fill, I think, that number 9 role for Everton. Massive football club. It's a big role to play. don't quite think they've found the formula yet, but certainly he's definitely one for the future.
Certainly tried a few names, haven't they, Everton, in recent years. Cenk Tosun sitting on the bench right now. They thought he might be the answer, but doesn't seem to be the way it's going to be. Oumar Niasse has had his go as well. The chaotic centre forward that is.
Well, they've certainly, I think their recruitment has been mixed, let's put it like that. At one point they had about 4 number 10s, didn't they? Davy Klaassen, Sigurdsson, Rooney, you could go on. A few number 9s. I mean, they've never replaced Lukaku, have they?
No.
I mean, what would they be like if they had someone like him? Oof.
They might have a chance of getting him now. He's Marcus Rashford's backup.
That's true.
Both these teams will begin the striker market this summer. Andy Carroll's contract was running out at West Ham. So many they'll be thinking not before time.
Well, he's not the only one, is he? I guess Sami Nasri comes in and he's injured again, and we've had that with Wilshere. Can go on. All the money sitting in that treatment room.
Incredible to think that Jack Wilshere and Andy Carroll would take about £250,000 a week out of this club. Never play football.
I don't know why you'd sign Jack Wilshere based on his previous history, or the previous signings like Carroll that haven't really worked out in terms of their injury problems.
No. Well, made some more successful signings in recent times, West Ham. Thinking about Felipe Anderson, but he's not here today, and that's certainly shown in West Ham's attempts to get away on the break at pace. First time he's not played for the Hammers this season in the league. Maybe could pose some questions, but even the Brazilian probably would have had enough to get something for the Hammers against this Everton side who have bossed the game. They've managed this second half superbly well as well. They're looking for a third here as the ball is whipped towards the back post, and Richarlison, as is often the case, beats the West Ham man in the air, but his header back was poor and it breaks to Antonio, who's running upfield, and once again he's desperate for a pass. There is no pass on, and the one he's tried is a big diagonal blast through to nowhere.
Well, he did the first part well in terms of carrying his side up the pitch. Then, look, Pellegrini just saying, then calm down, Mikel, find a pass. He tried a very ambitious ball, switch of play, got it horribly wrong.
Where was he going to go there, Mikel Antonio? Nobody wanted the ball in claret and blue out there.
Look, not one attempt from West Ham in the second half.
All through from Everton, trying to find Calvert-Lewin, intercepted by Bonner. Snodgrass, Rice into Lanzini. Creative outlet for West Ham's had a poor game here. Runs away from Richarlison, wants a pass forward, there's no movement ahead of him, and he runs into a crowd of Garner and Gomez. Just no way to get through the centre from West Ham, but they keep trying it that way. Rice then challenges Gylfi Sigurdsson on a yellow card here. Declan Rice just pulls out of the second challenge, and Sigurdsson recovers it well. Here's Gomez trying to get away from Mikel Antonio. He just turns away from him with absolute ease there, just brushed Antonio off, which is not easy to do. Strong play from Gomez.
They just can't get the ball back here, West Ham. It's been such a dire display, it really has. It's got to be up there some of the worst of the season. And look, they weren't great against Huddersfield, don't get me wrong, but at least in the second half they had a right good go.
On the back foot again here as Coleman is released down the right. In towards Bernard, leaves it for Sigurdsson. Zabaleta went to ground to get the block on, but it's one back and breaks to Gylfi Sigurdsson, who finds the ball left to Digne. His cross is blocked by Zabaleta, and it goes out for a corner to Everton. I think Marco Silva will be very frustrated with his team in the second half, because 2-0 is not enough for just how much better they have been than West Ham in this game.
Well, they're just living on the edge here, West Ham. They keep it alive. Sigurdsson's waiting for the overlap from Digne, puts him in. He's trying to square it to Calvert-Lewin, who's basically unmarked in the 6-yard box. West Ham defenders have given up.
That's a good way of putting it from David Conley alongside me, former West Ham player. There are plenty in claret and blue out there who have certainly given up, and there are fans that have given up as well.
Now this is the England set piece where they line up in a train here, Everton, in a straight line, trying to get someone free or a block on.
Zuma, Calvert-Lewin, Keane all there. It's and towards Zuma, won by Diop this time. Antonio can't keep it on. Tried his best, but couldn't sprint over there fast enough, and it will be a throw into Everton on the right-hand side with 10 minutes remaining until the sweet relief of the full-time whistle for West Ham United. And it's funny, it's almost so bemusing how bad they've been today, West Ham, that no one's really got that angry about it.
Well, there's certainly quite a few people leaving. They've had enough. Don't blame them. 10 minutes to go. Get back on the train or whatever. Get out of there.
Can be a long old wait for the train outside this former athletics venue as well. Get out early, pretend it never happened. That's a lot of what West Ham fans will need to do this evening. Another really dreadful showing. Weren't great against Huddersfield despite the win, as you say. Played very, very poorly against Cardiff City in the game before that. Season really just tailing off for West Ham United. That's a real worrying sign for Manuel Pellegrini. Do wonder the desire is there. Got tough games as well to come. Still got to play Tottenham, still got to play Chelsea. Want to finish in the top half, West Ham. Lost today. We'll see Everton climb into that top 10.
Well, look, I mean, the result earlier in terms of Wolves losing, just give them that little boost to go and get a result here and maybe climb up to 7th, but just haven't grabbed it again. Their inconsistency, I guess, is what is consistent this season.
Now Pablo Zabaleta is miles out of position once again, and Gylfi Sigurdsson is utilising that space. Down the left-hand side, low ball into Calvert-Lewin, who gets the shot away again. That's got to be his 3rd or 4th attempt. Has blazed over the crossbar from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Has hit Declan Rice for a corner. But it wasn't a great effort once again from Calvert-Lewin.
No, another good break though from Everton. Sigurdsson carrying him up the park, trying to pick out Calvert-Lewin on the edge of the box. He does. Good little first touch. He forces him back onto his left, but I think it was Ogbonna. Got a little block on.
Why on earth isn't Pablo Zabaleta just playing at right back? I just can't grasp it.
Well, he's playing with abandon, which, you know, is as if this is a testimonial or maybe they're winning. But
he's so out of position all the time.
Well, we saw that from the first couple of minutes. That was one thing I spotted early on. Well, hang on a minute, you know, you're leaving far too much space here. Too cavalier.
Corner for Everton, delivered in, free header, hits the crossbar. Richarlison met it, returned towards goal from Sigurdsson, saved by Fabianski. Well, West Ham United, they've got to start marking players at corners. It's absolutely inexplicable. They'll try and counter with Antonio running at Gomez, who tries to foul him and can't. Cross by Antonio is good. Very nearly breaks the Snodgrass. It's good defending in the end by Bernard, who got back. David Conley. Richarlison, free header from 6 yards out.
Absolutely great ball in. Zabaleta motion, just standing there, goes across him at the Nippo zone, completely unmarked. What a header, bullet header, straight bash off the crossbar. Fabianski was rooted to the spot.
And again, they're running down the left wing. Everton, and guess who's not there? Pablo Zabaleta. Snodgrass and Diengana are back defending, and finally Zabaleta joins in with the ball out of play.
I think we should start let's write a new book. It's Where's Wally, but where's Zabaleta?
He certainly played like a Wally today, that's for sure. Absolutely awful from the veteran fullback, who's been found wanting at every single occasion today. He's not the only one from West Ham, let's get that right. But he has been missing without leave on so many occasions today, as Gylfi Sigurdsson takes a well-deserved applause from the Everton fans who have enjoyed their day in London, and that's a rarity for Everton. They often struggle in the capital. But today they will be going back to Merseyside with victory. 10 Premier League games in London without a win since beating Crystal Palace in January 2017. 7 defeats in that time, including here last season against West Ham, but going to go away today with maybe the easiest 3 points they'll win all season. Tom Davies on to replace Sigurdsson, and he's coming now forward down the left hand side, and would you believe it, he got round the back of Pablo Zabaleta. West Ham smuggled the ball away that time. Sigurdsson's ball in, it's Antonio, could have gone anywhere. Coleman was in there, but it broke to Fabianski.
I'm a big fan of Tom Davies. He's a terrific young player. Has found game time hard to come by this season. Last season I thought he was superb. Bags of energy. He's got real quality on the ball as well. Playing as a number 10 here, just sort of in support of Calvert-Lewin.
High ball from Fabianski towards Hernandez, won by Zuma. And Zabaleta down the line towards Diangana, who can't get the ball away from the fullback. Zuma then turns away well from Javier Hernandez, who's then gone down. Well, I've twisted his ankle there, Hernandez. Everton come forward. It's not a head injury, so they should play on and do. Calvert-Lewin finds Davis. Davis turns away from Diangana. Good play by Davis. Zabaleta then intercepts, wins a free kick for his team. And now maybe a chance for some treatment for Hernandez.
I mean, how many times has Diangana slipped over? No, seriously, I mean, he's come on. It's a Premier League game. We saw Arnautovic earlier slip over at the vital moment. I mean, you're not playing in the playground here. This is, men's football. It means something. What you're wearing. He's not wearing the right footwear. Can't be slipping over. He's had the ball twice, basically. He slipped over both times, lost possession. Have the right footwear on. Make sure you stay on your feet and have a decent impact. Look, there's 59,988 here. And they've seen an absolutely woeful showing.
There's only about 20,000 left, I tell you. And there'll be more on their way out shortly. Certainly if Everton score a third here to cap a fine away performance. As Dini's cross is blocked by Diangana. Another corner to Everton. Cenk Tosun set to come on for the final couple of minutes here, getting a long briefing from Marco Silva. Tosun will be saying, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
Can I get on, please?
Yeah. Just get me on. Left. I mean, I'm coming on against a bunch of dummies. It doesn't matter. Just leave me to it.
Goals to be scored here from Everton if they want to. Big questions for West Ham to answer.
They've been all at sea. Look, here they are, man marking again, West Ham.
But it's almost like they've got less men in there than Everton as the ball is whipped in. Javier Hernandez away in the 6-yard box. He goes over to win the second ball and has actually got there before Dini. Has done quite well. He's won a free kick for his team, generously given by the referee, and there will be this change here for Everton. And it will be a bow for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Good performance from him in the sense of work rate, but probably as the centre forward against an absolutely woeful defence. Should have scored today and hasn't.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's, I think, put a really good shift in here for the side, but a couple of opportunities didn't quite take him. I think he might need to get a tiny bit stronger, more physical, but worked ever so hard, ran in behind for fun, was a constant outlet for them to relieve the pressure, held the ball up well as well, just maybe didn't have the goal to cap that performance off.
Cenk Tosun on to replace him for the final couple of minutes. Looks like maybe Theo Walcott might be getting a couple of minutes here as well for Everton as their star performers get a well-earned bow as we approach the final 2 minutes here of this bizarre game. We really thought it might be a bit of an end-to-end game between two even teams, and what we've had is Everton absolutely schooling West Ham from first minute to last. Richarlison now on the edge, breaks through to Tosun, who's gone down, but the offside flag is up. Again, Cenk Tosun, it would have been a penalty for the challenge, but Tosun was in an offside position before Ogbonna brought him down. Cresswell for West Ham, into Lanzini, forward to Antonio. Managed to get away from Coleman, but is fouled by Seamus Coleman. There's a couple of fouls in there from Everton players before the eventual free kick was given by referee Paul Tierney. Just seeing a replay on our monitors, and it is Richarlison's touch forward, and it would have been the right decision there. Tosun offside. Clear penalty though if it wasn't.
It was, yeah, just went fractionally early there, Tosun. Didn't really trust his pace to get away, so went a yard early. Would have been a pen, as you say.
Antonio running at 2 again. Antonio giving the ball away again for West Ham. Theo Walcott now getting a long briefing from Marco Silva, the latest to get the time-wasting chat before they make their final change. And Richarlison, who probably should have scored a third goal with his header that hit the crossbar, withdrawn here. Takes his time to get off, but it's the kind of thing that will sometimes annoy the home support, but I just don't think anyone really cares at this point.
There's not many people there to witness it. I think Richarlison's had a decent game, good outlet for them. He was booked, so probably a sensible change. Last few minutes, Walcott also likes to play off that left-hand side too. Looks like he's lining up on the right though.
3 minutes for West Ham to endure, 3 minutes for Everton to enjoy here. As Garner comes forward, looks for Tosson, turns away from his man, gets the shot away, but is offside. Once again, Zheng Tosson. Shot was saved by Fabianski. Free kick to be taken by West Ham. Outright on the floor. Well, I just can't understand, David Connolly. Maybe you can tell me how and why West Ham have been so bad today. I mean, there's poor performances and then there's whatever we've seen today. Come back to it as Zabaletta's cross is whipped in. Comes off Keane. Picked up by Cresswell on the far side. Whipped in towards Hernandez. Won by Keane again. Antonio just volleys the ball into touch. Not quite sure what he was trying to do. Not sure he was sure what he was trying to do. Terrible touch, out of play.
Well, I mean, you know, there's got to be an inquiry in terms of what these West Ham players have been doing these past couple of weeks in the international break. And that's the time to iron out any sort of deficiencies on the training ground that you've seen in the last few weeks. And look, there would have been plenty of them. I think the result against Huddersfield masked the performance because it was an abysmal one, but they just got lucky in the end. A couple of late goals, obviously, but here it's been so bad. I mean, started with a 4-4-2. Maybe they underestimated Everton, I don't know, but if obviously they've done their due diligence, so we're seeing how good they were against Chelsea, especially in the second half. Plenty of questions raised here.
Diop right to Zabaleta. Back to Issa Diop again. Davis chasing him down. Back to Fabianski. So many white seats on view now from positions where West Ham fans were once sitting. Everyone made their way to the exit as their team have underwhelmed, almost feels like praise for how bad they've been today. Free kick won by Everton on the halfway line here to be taken by Gomez. Left to Zuma, chips it upfield. He's the man who started the scoring back in the 4th minute from a set piece. Corner came in and Zuma headed home. Bernard scored the second with his first Premier League goal. And this result will see Everton climb up to 9th in the table, 43 points above Watford on goal difference, who dropped to 10th, and West Ham now top of the bottom half on 42 points. And there is the full-time whistle, and there is confirmation of what we've known for quite some time, that Everton are going back to Merseyside with all 3 points. Atrocious performance from West Ham United today, one that's going to be discussed, I'm sure, long into the night in the pubs of East London. Well, they're already there, to be fair. Maybe we should join them while we consider having a drink and get the highlights of the 90 minutes we've just seen. Ball comes into Zuma! An early goal for Everton, and it's Kurt Zuma with a free header from 6 yards out. There is a man on the post, but he couldn't get it clear. And in this battle of two teams trying to finish best of the rest, it's Everton who score the first goal.
Zuma just rises highest, gets above his man. I think it's above Diop, it might have been. Heads it down into the ground and just bounces over the man on the line.
Forward to Sigurdsson, down the line to Calvert-Lewin, who is through for 2. Strike hits Fabianski, back to Sigurdsson. Great save again by Lucas Fabianski, who at the moment is keeping West Ham in this game. Helped on down the right channel to Zabaleta, who's round the back of the fullback, cuts back across, finds Lanzini in the area, who waited and dawdled on the ball, allowed Everton to steal, and it's broken through to Pickford. Coleman then finds Richarlison. Coleman's made a secondary run. Here he is now in the area round the back for 2-0. It is 2-0 to Everton, and no less than they deserve. It's Bernard with the finish. It's brilliant play down the right-hand side this time, and the Toffees lead by 2 at London Stadium.
Pablo Zabaleta found sleeping again.
Corner for Everton, delivered in, free header, hits the crossbar. Richarlison met it, returned towards goal from Sigurdsson, saved by Fabianski. Well, West Ham United, they've got to start marking players at corners. It's absolutely inexplicable.
Completely unmarked. What a header, bullet header, straight bash off the crossbar. Fabianski was rooted to the spot.
And that's the story of the match at London Stadium to end this brilliant Saturday of Premier League action. West Ham United beaten by Everton by 2-0. David Conley watched the action alongside me. Let's talk about how good Everton were today. Absolutely bossed the game. They saw West Ham's weaknesses and exploited them absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah, they were excellent. I mean, right from the first minute, they had a real high tempo about them and an energy and a quality, and they kept the ball so well, possession-based side, and carried that performance against Chelsea into the first half here at West Ham. I mean, it was 2-0, could have been 3 or 4-0 if they're more clinical, and they thoroughly deserved the 3 points here.
It's very tough sometimes to assess games like this, and I wonder what your view is. They were very good, Everton, but did West Ham make them look better than they actually played?
Well, possibly, but look, I mean, that Everton defensive backline was never trouble, was it? I can't recall Pickford really making a save. Keane and Zuma were excellent, and like a rock at the back. The two fullbacks, Dino and Coleman, were superb. You know, the two holding midfield players, Gomez and Gabe, just broke things up and kept it simple, but then the front four just flooded forward and had real quality about them. Bernard was brilliant, you know, Richarlison was a handful, Calvert-Lewin was running in behind, and Sigurdsson's got that quality. I mean, it was an all-round, just a really steady, solid performance. However, you got to say West Ham were woeful. I mean, that is arguably one of the worst performances I've seen from any team in any division, and I've done a lot of football this season. That was terrible.
17 shots from Everton compared to West Ham's 3, of which 1 was on target, and I think that may have been the little shot from an Arnautovic that bobbled through to Pickford. Otherwise, I can't recall a shot that was on target. And we've got to talk about it. We've mentioned it a lot. You know, I want to make sure we do praise Everton because they were good today, but we have to talk about just how bad West Ham were. What do you put that down to? How can you explain that?
Well, I can't. I mean, they've had plenty of time to try and put things right in the training ground. This 2-week international break, you know, and the players, you know, some of them would have been in and around the training ground. They wouldn't all have been flying off here, there and everywhere. You had a fairly strong squad to choose from. Not that many injured, was there? Unavailable, apart from maybe Felipe Anderson. You know, but the rest of them, yeah, so it's down to the manager. He selected the team shape. He selected the players in that shape. I mean, Lucas Perez was woeful. I don't know why he can select him. Hernandez, I know he was away and he scored his, 51st goal for Mexico, but so what? Get him back in the team because he's already scored a couple against Huddersfield. I don't think you can keep expecting players to come on and pull a rabbit out of the hat as he did here again. You know, sometimes, eventually, your luck will run out. And you felt they got lucky against Huddersfield. But, you know, they're a far superior opponent here, Everton. I just wonder whether they took them too lightly. You can't afford to only have 2 in midfield against Everton, and that's why I didn't pick Noble, because he went with a front 2. But that front 2, I mean, they've got to be exceptional. Not many sides play with a front 2 unless they are, you know, out of this world. I mean, Atletico Madrid do, but they might have Griezmann and I don't know, Costa or whatever, and some other sides will play with a front 2. Maybe Rashford and Lukaku. United at times, if they play a diamond. Not many play a front 2. Because normally then the other opposition will have a 3-man midfield and then have far too much for you, as was proven the case today.
To finish on this game, do you think that there might be some questions about the future of Manuel Pellegrini, considering just how poor some of the recent performances have been?
Well, look, I always maintain Pellegrini is a short-term fix, right? You know, that's because of a couple of things. His age, you know, the signings they've made. You contrast that with Everton, who've obviously gone for a little bit of a project. Marco Silva is young, he's the one they've always wanted. They're going to buy into what he wants to do and give him that time, but West Ham certainly won't. Pellegrini's here for the short term, so really they want short-term results. Let's spend 100 million quid. If I was them, I'd be expecting, certainly after Wolves' defeat, you know, to be, you know, making sure they get 3 points here and try and cement that 7th place and then hold on to it. Show a bit of character and bottle to say, right, we got it now. You ain't going to take it off us. It's almost if they didn't want European football.
Elsewhere today in the Premier League, Man City went back top, 2-0 victors over Fulham earlier in the day. Big win for Southampton, beating Brighton by 1-0 at the Amex Stadium. Burnley beating Wolves by 2-0. Leicester, the same scoreline against Bournemouth. Manchester United held on to beat Watford by 2-1, despite being almost totally outplayed for 90 minutes at Old Trafford. Football's a funny old game sometimes, but the big story of the day comes down the bottom, where Huddersfield Town's 2-year stay in the top flight came to an end following their 2-0 loss against Crystal Palace earlier today. And a word on them, David Conley, we mentioned them at half-time. It has been a story of some good moments, some great moments. The win against Man United last season certainly springs to mind, but they never looked like a Premier League outfit, and I don't think they'll be missed by many.
No, I mean, look, they came up short. Obviously, they made that change on Wagner, which I felt was a little bit harsh. I don't know what else he could have done, actually, in the circumstances. Did really well to get promoted. Just found the level a little bit too high, didn't make the signings and strengthen where they needed to, really struggled to score goals. However, I think they'll probably give it a right good tilt in the Championship. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw them again in the Premier League next season, or season after.
David Connolly, would be very surprising if they were here next season. Thank you very much indeed for your company this evening. Former West Ham striker David Connolly with me. Tomorrow, 2 games in the Premier League for you. Cardiff City up against Chelsea as a 2:05 UK time kickoff. Also Liverpool against Tottenham. Monday Night Football, Arsenal against Newcastle. And of course games on Tuesday and Wednesday for you as well. We're done here. Big win for Everton. You've been listening to Premier League Live.
There's more to life than football, money and fun. Well, not much.
Kick off the new season with TalkSport's £1 million Predictor game.
Register now at talksport.com/predictor and play for free throughout the season.
Play it in the van. Play it on the can. Play it with your gran.
Win £1 million sterling.
It's the biggest prize in the history of TalkSport.
The TalkSport £1 million Predictor game. Players must be 18 or over. See talksport.com/predictor for full conditions.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends a shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
He's put down the dumbbells and has turned up here for the show. Chris Iwelumo is on the preview show. A Premier League winner, Paul Parker, joins us on the Premier League Preview Show.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
Everton.